Hey kids, welcome to Lesson 8 in Module 3. This one is about adding and subtracting fractions and mixed numbers, and it's really a whole lot more like normal life because typically the lessons in the book will say, today we're just adding, or today we're only subtracting. And so students tend to get a little bit lazy about watching the signs, but really life is just filled with addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and you don't really know what you have to do until you look and read and think. So watch out for the signs, keep that brain turned on, just pay attention to the signs and see if you're going to be going forward on the number line if you're adding or backward on the number line if you're subtracting. So a couple of warm-up problems here. Also watch the signs. Yes, you can pause the video if you need a little bit more time. If you have whole numbers, we're going to add those first. And so those are going to be shown on the number line with whole big gaps. If we have more than 1 and 1, if you have like 17 plus 15, we're just going to go one big hop, call it from 0 to 17 or 15 in one hop. So we're going to try to save a little time on the number lines. And also, after you do the whole numbers, then you add the fractions, okay? When we have fractions, they're giving us pretty easy stuff today where you don't really have to worry about getting common denominators until perhaps the word problems. Even those, pretty easy today. Subtraction is what's going to throw people a little bit, so let's take a look at our problems for subtraction. Subtraction, the most common mistake is that students will subtract the whole numbers and then they'll add the fraction. But the thing with subtraction is that you need to write this down. Subtraction moves continually down the number line in the same direction. So you're going to have a problem like, say, 1 minus 1/4. So we're going to go from 1. This is going to be the whole that you start at, and then you're going to move from there. So if I have 1 minus 1/4, you have to know that there are 4 parts that make up, see the denominator, that make up all the pieces between the next whole number and the 1. So if I have 4 parts, they're going to be called 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4. So if I start out at 1 and I have to go backwards or take 1/4 off, the answer is going to be what it takes to make up the whole between the 0 and the next number. So if that's not very clear, let me do another one, because if you take something like, say, 2 minus 3/5, you're going to start at 2. Here's your whole number. You're going to go down, but you're only taking the 3/5 off. So the next whole number is 1. So you're going to be more than 1 because you're not taking any whole numbers away. So you could put the 1 there if you wanted, but you still have to figure out what makes up all the pieces between 1 and 2. Well, it's in 5 pieces. Label each piece 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all fifths, and then take off the 3/5. 1, 2, 3. Where do you land? You land at 2, because 2 plus 3 make 5, and that's going to be the whole. So you just kind of have to think about it in terms of how many pieces make the whole, and am I continuing to take off more? What am I going to land at? And we're using the number line as our strategy. Okay, here's another one where we actually take off a whole plus more. So 3 minus 1 2/3, you start at 3, you take off 1, that's your take off 1 whole, but keep going because you have to take away 2/3 more. It's like saying 3 minus 1 minus 2/3. So you're going to just keep taking away, and then you end up with 1 1/3. So those are your notes for today. And if you can get your Learn book, then we will jump right in. So our strategy and objective is to add and subtract using a number line to help us. First thing you might want to do, because these can get potentially a little bit confusing, make some nice sections so that you will keep your work away from the other problems and keep your answers neat. Add or subtract. The ones that are adding are sometimes so easy. I know people just want to put the answer. So 2 plus 1, that gives you 3 plus 1/5. Okay, that's like show your answer from a couple lessons ago as the sum of a whole number and a fraction, 3 1/5. But we also have to use a number line. It doesn't say in the directions, but the strategy is to use a number line. Since we know we're going to be between 0 and 4 because we're just past 3, you can do a simple number line, 0, 1, 2, 3. There you go. See, that's our fun whoops for the day. And 4. So if I have 2 plus 1, okay, I've got my 2 plus 1. This is my 2 plus 1 plus 1/5. So I have this next section broken into 5 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5th is already there. It's the hash mark that's already there. And then you can label them 1/5, 2/5, etc., etc. But you only have to go 1 because that's all we're adding. So you should be at 3 1/5. This right here, this right here. So it's really kind of an easy concept. We're just showing it on a number line, which could take you an extra minute as you're kind of surfing through the counting and the hash marks. Let's do the next one because it's subtraction. Make a number line. Now 2 minus 1, easy peasy, but I want to caution you on these. Let's just do 0, 1, 2. Always starting out with subtraction at the number from which we're pulling. Okay, so we start out at 2. We have to take away a full 1. This is our minus 1. Okay, but now I have to take away 3/8 more. So this section here is where we're working. So it needs to be divided into 8 sections so you can see how many to take away. So 1, 2, 3, each one of them being 1/8, minus 1/8, minus 1/8, minus 1/8. Those 3 make up the minus 3/8. I won't do this on all the problems. I'm just showing you the details here. Okay, now what are we at? So this is the part where you have to start counting in eighths from 0. It will help you if you do a little bit of work with your labeling. Some of them, students will sit there and they'll like detail everything and they'll have all these eighths. You don't have to take all that time and label everything, but in the beginning it will help you if you just go 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8. Get used to counting in fractional units, 6/8, 7/8, and then of course the 8/8 would be here at the 1 whole. So we're taking away the 3, and where do you land? You land at the 5. So when you do all the subtraction and you take away the 1 and the 3/8, you're really at 5/8 as your answer because you don't even have a whole number left. You've already gone down below the 1. See, you're between 0 and 1 at only fractional units there. Okay, so 5/8 is your answer, and let's move on to C. Make a number line. Now for this one, we have 5 and 2 as our whole numbers. If I have 0 here, I can just go like this, plus 5, okay? There's my 5. You don't have to do all the little tick marks in between. Make another little hop there, plus 2. 5 plus 2 we know is 7. So the two numbers on your number line can be 5 and 7. And we have some fractional units that we have to account for. 2/5 and 3/5 make 5/5. Thankfully, they gave us all the same denominator. And 5/5 is equal to 1. So it doesn't have to be exactly the same spacing. You can just show the plus 1 that 5/5 makes. So when I have my 5 and 2 and 1, I get 8. And, sorry, you can circle that. So next one, subtraction. These are always the ones that are a little trickier. So I have 4 minus 2. My top number is going to be 4. That's where we will start. We're going to take away 2. Minus 2 gives you 2. So put that on your number line. But we're also going to take away 2/7 more. So put your next whole number on the number line and then divide it into the number of pieces the denominator tells you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The seventh line is already there. Okay. Now, if these are the sevenths, it's going to be 1 seventh, 2 sevenths, 3 sevenths, 4 sevenths, 5 sevenths, 6 sevenths. You don't have to label the 7 sevenths if you don't want, because we're leaving from the 2 and we're taking away 2 sevenths. 1, 2. Where do you land? You're at 1 5 sevenths right there. Okay, 1 5 sevenths. I know it gets a little bit tiny, and you don't have to make it quite so tiny. I wonder if I could zoom it in. Yes, I can, and then I could pull back a little bit. Okay, so that you guys can kind of get a better look at that. All right, then we have 9 plus 8. Again, make your number line. If you have a 0, just do plus 9. That's one step. Also, plus 8. So where would you be if you had 9 plus 8? You would be at 17. Okay, but we also have to add 3/4 more, so I can put 18 here, divide that into 4 sections, and then we would hop the 3/4 around. And so you end up at 17 3/4. The adding ones, like I said, they're very easy. Subtraction. 17 minus 15. Start at 17. You want to start at the whole. Take away 15. What do you get when you do 17 minus 15? That puts you right at 2. So between the 2 and the next one below, it doesn't, remember, have to be a super perfect number line. We're just showing, hey, now I'm breaking this section up. I have to take away more. I have to take away 2/3 more. If this is 1/3 and this is 2/3 and this is 3/3 right here, and I have to take away more, remember subtraction, you keep going the same direction down the number line, 1 2/3. So what do you land at? 1 1/3. Keep moving the same direction. If we're adding, we're moving the same direction this way. If we're subtracting, move the same direction that way. Number line. 15 and 17 again, but this time we're adding. So have your hop for our plus 15. Have your hop for plus 17. And then we have to add a little bit more. Put your little tick marks in there. Now this isn't 17, it's 15 plus 17. So that makes 32 2/3. So here's your 32, here's 33. We're dividing it into 3 sections. Here's 1/3, here's 2/3. 2/3. 32 2/3. And the next one, last one on the front. And kids will say, oh, do I really have to make this number line with 100 on it? Nope, you just put 100. And then you take away 20, bam, minus 20. And what are you at when you have 100 minus 20? You're at 80. But that's not all we have to take away. We have to take away, so put the next one below, we have to take away 7 out of 8 pieces. So if this had 8 pieces here, in between 79 and 80, we have to take away 7 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Boop, right there. Okay, and so that's going to be your 1/8. Oops, you can barely see that. This one here is going to be the 1/8. So your answer is 79 1/8. You're going to have to trust me on that one, that one is the 1/8. Okay? So these number lines are just kind of a Common Core way, making things really busy, but I don't think it's necessarily super helpful with addition, but it's very helpful with subtraction. We have a couple of word problems. Oh, this one's fun. Calvin had 30 minutes in timeout. For the first 23 and a half minutes, Calvin counted spots on the ceiling. And for the rest of the time, he made faces at his stuffed tiger. You think the stuffed tiger is named Hobbs, perchance? How long did Calvin spend making faces for that rest of the time? So take your number line, okay? And we've got our 30 minutes of timeout. And then for the first 23 and a third minutes, minus 23, and then minus a third. So 30, sorry, I'm going to write this algebraically, minus 23, and then minus, thinking ahead, minus a third. So 23 minus, oh my gosh, I just had a super lisp. 30 minus 23 is 7 because the difference, I got to be really careful. The difference between 30 and 23 is 7. So you have your 7 and then you need to go down to, we're having fun today. Then you need to go down to the next whole number and divide it into this many pieces and take away one of the 3 pieces. And then you have your answer because we're at 1/3 here and 2/3 here. So the answer would be 6 2/3. It must be a Friday. Is it Friday? Yes, it is for me. So 6 2/3 minutes is how many minutes Calvin spent making faces at his tiger. Making faces. Okay, there you go. See, I told you that one would be fun. And then let's do number 3, Linda. Linda planned to spend 9 hours practicing piano this week. 9 is her total. By Tuesday, she had spent 2.5 hours practicing. How much longer does she need to practice? This is a total tape diagram problem. 9 hours being the total. 2 1/2 hours being the part that's done. Mystery number is what's left. Okay, remember, parts make the whole. If you want to find out the difference, it's 9 minus 2.5. You can use a number line if you'd like. You can make it longer if you want. Starting out at the 9 minus 2. What do you get here after you subtract 9 minus 2? You get 7. You still have to put that next number divided into the denominator number of parts, 2 parts, and then take one of them away. Minus the 1/2. Where does that leave you? It leaves you at 6.5. And what is our label? 6.5 hours she needs to practice. 6.5 more hours to make her goal. Do click subscribe and come back, and you'll be notified when I make new videos. That way you can keep up with your Eureka math. This is the last one for today. Gary says that 3 minus 1 1/3 will be more than 2 because 3 minus 1 is 2. Well, 3 minus 1 is 2, but I'm not sure that it's going to be more than 2. So let's draw a picture to prove Gary wrong. Poor Gary, we're going to prove you wrong right now. So we've got 3 minus 1 1/3. Let's make the whole number line. 1, 2, 3. Let's start out with our 3, which is our top number. It's the whole. We are going to subtract from here. First thing you're going to do is take away the 1, minus 1. Now, Gary is doing that common mistake that students will do. They look at the fraction and then they go this way. And it's like, no, no, no. You have to keep going the same direction down the number line when you're subtracting. So look at the denominator. Break that next piece into the proper number of pieces and take the amount away that you need to. So we're showing Gary that you got to keep moving this way down the number line when you continue to subtract. So 3 minus 1 minus 1/3 is going to be at 1 2/3 for our answer. 1 2/3 is the answer. Now, why? The picture proves it, but you must keep moving the same direction when subtracting. Well, when adding, when, doing your operation. Okay, and the direction is left. Okay, so you're going to lower numbers when you're subtracting, and that's left down the number line. I hope this is helpful, and come back again for another video. Have a great day. Bye for now.